Hey, welcome to the Raw Food Health Empowerment Podcast. Today we are talking about weight loss, right? If weight loss is your goal and you've gone vegan with the intention that will help you release excess fat and you're seeing that nothing is happening and you're months down the line and nothing seems to be changing, I have some advice for you. That literally was my story. So I went vegan back in 2008 now, and so about 18 years ago. And I went vegan specifically to avoid getting type 2 diabetes like I saw my grandma die from. But I gained 20 pounds during that time, during my fun vegan exploration time. And what I discovered was that not having vegetables makes a huge difference, right? When you're loading up on bread and pasta and calorie-dense foods and not necessarily expending that energy, right? If you are a marathon runner or something like that, then you probably won't have that problem, right? All that energy you're consuming, you're probably burning off. But if you are just a regular office worker on the computer sitting down and you're just looking to your diet to make a difference, the critical things are having fresh fruits and vegetables in that diet, right? Because one, it's going to sweep your colon clean, right? All that fiber, but there's water with that fiber, which is really helpful to remove toxins, waste. These foods are nutrient dense and low in calories, so that energy is going to get burnt off. It's just highly efficient food when you're on a fat loss journey, right? And so for me, at that time when I started my vegan journey, I did not like vegetables. So I just cut out meat, dairy, eggs, but I was eating everything with a vegan label, including chemicals in processed food, which are obesogenic chemicals. So yes, they do make you gain weight. I was eating lots of breads, which even now with oatmeal, for example, which is a single item food, it's technically a processed food, even though it's a whole grain, but that is not how it's grown. There has to be some level of processing even with the steel cut. That's the least processed that you can get the oat. But there was still manipulation done to the food after it was harvested, right, for it to be consumed. Now, with me, when I know that when I have those types of foods, I retain a lot of water. And if I have that on a consistent basis for breakfast in the morning, I definitely look thicker. I look fatter, basically. But it's not like I'm accumulating more fat. I'm accumulating more water, maybe a little bit more fat if I'm having just more calories than I'm burning off. But typically it's water, which is why I tell my clients when we're on a fat loss journey, right? That is the goal. We need to be looking at body composition and not just a number on the scale, because that is not really telling us anything. We have to see what we're consuming and how that's making a difference. And sometimes maybe the number doesn't change, but if the number on the scale doesn't change, but your muscle mass is increasing, that is supporting you in that fat loss journey because muscle burns fat. So yeah, if you have gone vegan and you're not experiencing the fat loss, you definitely want to eliminate processed foods. You want to eliminate fried foods, right? That fat, the oil, and fried foods are creating, first of all, the frying creates these carcinogenic chemicals, and those toxins are living in the fat cells, right? So the more toxins you accumulate, the more fat you're going to put on. More inflammation too, which also exacerbates the fat problem, right? Because when inflammation is high, cortisol tends to also be high, and that will trigger insulin needs, which will only make your waistline expand. So we always want to keep stress levels down. We want to keep fried foods to a minimum, processed foods to a minimum, right? And really, depending on where you're at and how fast you want to get to your goal, elimination is typically what we're looking to do. And if you feel like you're hungry all the time, then I would highly recommend drinking water, being physically active, looking at those relationships that you're having. We have this concept that we discuss in integrative nutrition called primary foods. And I find that when my primary foods are full, my hunger hormones are basically in balance. Obviously, you want to make sure you're eating clean, healthy, nutrient-dense meals, incorporating enough protein so you're feeling satiated and satisfied. But most importantly, honestly, is making sure your primary foods are taken care of, and that's being accounted for. Because when they're not, when they're at a deficit, folks tend to overeat, right? It's never enough, like the amount of food that you're eating. One diet like that has always helped me is the 80-10-10 diet, right? And it is recommended by, I've seen documentation that the American Heart Association and organizations like that are concerned about cardiovascular health really support this 80-10-10 way of eating, where no more than 10% of your calories should be coming from fat. When you keep fat that low, it's easier for you to keep a healthy weight. Also, I found personally that it also helps with hormonal balance, with skin, with menstrual health, mood stabilization, all of that. So those are some things to keep in mind. So if you are looking to release excess fat, what is the game plan? I would recommend lots of vegetables, however you want to do it, right? Lots of vegetables, whole foods, season the foods at home with your own ingredients instead of buying things like frozen already made, because they have a lot of additives and chemicals in there. And one thing that I'm seeing, even like looking around Trader Joe's and looking at these packages that folks are buying, is that there is sugar in these things you wouldn't even believe. You could be picking up, I don't know, some kind of pilaf or some kind of vegetable mix already made meal, right? It's vegetables and it's like, it looks healthy on the packaging, and you turn it around and there it is, cane sugar. I do a training where I show you there's 60 something different names for sugar on these packaging that's out here in the markets. And you want to avoid having refined sugar because, again, that puts more demands for insulin. Insulin is basically a steroid that makes you gain more fat. And so you don't want to do that. You want to get your sweetness from whole foods like fruits, like dates, whole grains. You want to play around with that. I know for me personally, and it's really an experimentation. Here's another term from integrative nutrition is bioindividuality. Each of us are different. We have unique gut microbiomes. So our body's going to respond differently, right? We have different metabolisms, different body types. So for me personally, when it comes to grains, I tend to gain weight when it comes to oats and wheat and stuff like that. Rice, not so much, but rice, I vomit when I eat rice. I can't digest that. So that basically leaves me, for the most part, when I talk about like my day-to-day eating, with quinoa. And quinoa is so great because it's a high protein food, so it's very satiating, slow burn, without it affecting like mental clarity. You may have had the experience if you have straight up oatmeal or bread or something like that, or pasta even, where you feel tired after. And that's because of the carbs, right? All plant foods are carbs, but with these things, because of the demands on insulin, it tends to make the frontal lobe sleepy. And so I find like with quinoa, I don't have that response. I'm very much alert. And I think that has to do with the fact that it's a high protein food. And I personally think it's hard to overeat quinoa. I guess you could if those primary foods aren't taken care of. You definitely could if you're consuming a lot of salt. You definitely could if you're consuming a lot of oil, right? But in this journey of fat loss, you may want to consider even cutting back on salt so your body's not retaining water. So when you release the fat, you can actually see it more instantaneously, which will give you more motivation. You get that quick win. Also, cutting back on the oil like we talked about. And obviously, you can get protein from legumes and like lentils, beans, chickpeas. Add some variety. I like texture in my dishes. So even if I have a quinoa dish, I'll add some artichokes. I'll add some pumpkin seeds to it. Sweet potatoes, so I get a variety of different flavors. I'm having sweet, I'm having savory. I love to add apple cider vinegar, especially if I'm having cooked food, because it helps me digest that. And having the texture, the different textures. So there's a lot of different bowls that you can make when you're rotating your greens, rotating your grains, your fruits, right? Fruits, I love to snack on fruits, and I have a whole meal in the day that's just a smoothie, right? So I'm consuming lots of water and getting water from my food and making sure that it's resulting in a bowel movement, right? A really good one every day, right? So some folks are saying that they are not moving their bowels on a daily basis. This will contribute to fat accumulation, but more importantly, puts you at risk for colon cancer. So just from a health perspective, we want to be mindful of what we're putting in and that it's coming out, right? If we're eating food every day, food should be coming out the other end every day. And so if you are concerned about this and you want help with an assessment of how you're eating and your gut health, I cover that with my clients in my Brain Health Breakthrough Coaching Program. If you're just looking to see, I'm interested with this raw food thing, like how can I incorporate this and have some fun in the kitchen and release excess fat without even trying, that's where my 21-day New Year meal prep challenge comes into play. There's some delicious recipes in there with photos and videos and lots of resources for you. So you can sign up for that. The link is in the description. And I wish you the best of luck. When you see results on this fat loss really depends on you. And we've only talked about the nutritional aspect. We haven't even talked about the exercise part, right? We talked a little bit about the emotional and the psychological aspect, which are those primary foods, which are really helpful and critical. You wouldn't imagine how much easier it was to release the fat, not just from food and these other things, but from getting more sleep. People sleep on sleep when it comes to fat loss. It's crazy. And for me, what I noticed was getting more sleep helps to regulate those hunger hormones. So I wasn't in a cycle of overeating, right? Or even emotional eating, stress eating, or anything like that, because that sleep is helping to regulate all those hormones and keep stress levels down. Plus, you're shortening your eating window too. We haven't even talked about intermittent fasting. These are all of these different tools, which I'm sure you've heard about. Sometimes I think that people like to or want to take shortcuts though. They feel like, oh yeah, I've heard all these things, but it's not working for me. And when you find out, they're just not doing it. Or they're doing it, but they're not tracking it properly. They're literally losing the fat, but there's a psychological disconnect. Maybe they feel like they should be getting down to goal weight in a couple weeks, and that's not gonna happen, right? A healthy weight loss is about 1 pound to 2 pounds a week. So depending on your goals, it's going to take as long as it needs to take, right? You didn't gain that weight overnight, so you're not going to lose it overnight. And 2, you don't even want to release all that fat too soon. The folks on the GLP-1s can tell you, like we talked about, toxins are stored in the fat cells. And so when you're releasing a lot of fat very quickly, what does that do? That comes with a lot of negative symptoms, right? With all those toxins being dumped into the bloodstream. And so we want to be really careful and mindful of all that. So lots of resources are available for you in the description below. And I really do wish you the best of luck on your fat loss journey, and most importantly, your health and wellness journey. Because ultimately, the fat loss doesn't matter, because the big goal that we're going after is quality of life. We want to thrive in this life and live our best life. So I do wish you all the best. And until next time, take care.